Tonight, perhaps, a major twist in the story of this English season. One of the major players, Patrick Vieira, 2 months, 12 games out of the Arsenal 11, is back. He returns to an Arsenal side which, in keeping with their League Cup policy, has a considerably higher average squad number than average age. None of this 11 started on Sunday, though Ali Adier and Kanu finished against Fulham. Sylvain Wiltord is another key player to return from injury. There is only one debutant, 19-year-old American centre-half, Frankie Simek. Wolves have a debutant too. Andy Marshall on loan from Ipswich gives Michael Oakes a rest between the sticks. Dennis Irwin hasn't made it. Mark Kennedy drops to the bench. Joey Gudjonsson slips to full back. And to pitch midfield battle with Vieira, the governor returns. Paul Ince is fit. So Wolves begin their first match at Highbury for nigh on 20 years, and they have good reason to believe that they could become the first English visitors to win on this ground this season. Joey Gudjonsson has had to fill in at right full-back in the absence both of the former Arsenal man Oleg Luzhny and more recently, of course, Dennis Irwin, who was rested actually for the last round of this competition anyway against Burnley. Lee Naylor at left-back, Nathan Blake, who got the goal against Newcastle at the weekend, going in against the American centre-half Frankie Simek, whose first touch of a senior football that was. He'll know he's been in a game by the end of an hour and a half against the big Welshman Blake. Graham Stack was the hero of the penalty shootout against Rotherham in round 2, and he has a first corner to concern him now, over which conspire Keith Andrews and Henri Camara. Clearance was by Hoyt. Came to Naylor. Switch wide for Andrews, and towards Miller, who's held up by Tavlaridis. Andrews again. And Kenny Miller, slipping it through the legs of Patrick Vieira. Certain amount of indignity for the returning skipper of Arsenal, and a certain amount of pain for the Scotsman who inflicted it upon him. But it is a Wolves free kick. Graham Stack has been the more anxious of the two goalkeepers inside the first 2 minutes. There's Joey Gudjonsson. It's a good gather by Stack. Slippery ball on a chilly-ish sort of evening. This is Bentley for Arsenal. Fabregas, the 16-year-old who wrote new records in the history of this club when he appeared in the previous round as the youngest ever Arsenal player. It's Tavlaridis. That, of course, is Vieira. Barely need to mention, and this is Sylvain Wiltord chipping away from Naylor. Inside of Ince is Wiltord's shot, which was deflected. And Arsenal their first corner. Bright enough starter at either end of the field. Wiltor made himself a couple of yards, and Ince, as Ince does, closed them down. Bentley with the corner. Marshall's first foray off his line was none too certain, with Vieira in close proximity, but Wolves had enough back to deal with it. Fabregas got a header on it, and Butler got a boot on it. That's Clichy, who has, of course, recently played in the Premiership at St Andrews, Birmingham. Hoyt. Fabregas. Ali Adier let it run for Kanu, whose turn was clever, and whose shot was only a yard or two over. Kanu, one of those bonus players that a young crowd coming to see a mainly young team will enjoy watching. Hasn't scored a goal since last October in the Champions League against Auxerre. These are the sort of nights when Arsene Wenger comes over all avuncular. Clichy for Vieira. Cut out by Gudjonsson, taken back by Vieira. Rolled in for Kanu. Held up by Ray. Vieira. Wiltor, nice touch. Hoyt. Justin Hoyt's cross. Kanu. And again Kanu! Oh! He was odds on to start with, and the odds were narrowing. He had to score, ideally hung up by young Justin Hoyt. A lucky bounce for Kanu. He had yards to aim at, and somehow he steered it wide. 13 months since his last first-team goal, Kanu, and that sort of finishing will only prolong the agony. Justin Hoyt can be proud of his contribution to that promising move. Naylor, oh, neat. Away from Fabregas. Over the top for Miller, but the flag is raised against the Scotsman. We've got his only goal of this season in round 3 against Burnley at Molineux. Won by Gudjonsson. Blake wants some of it. He's going to discomfort Tavlaridis. Hefty back pass from Clichy. Awkward moment for Stack. Clichy's made himself available though. And having dug his goalkeeper into some trouble, he dug him out of it. Butler found Camera. Pumped away by Simic. The crowd loves a trier. He's been in England, the American, since the age of 12. Went to an American school in Cobham, Surrey. This is Fabregas, product of Barcelona. Tavlaridis, the Greek. Simic. Drifted over the top for Ali Adier, who wouldn't stop running. Dave Jones, no compromise, no liberties taken with his team selection. He and Terry Connor and those around them will believe that this is a competition Wolves are entitled to go all the way in. Craddock, penned in by Kanu, helped out by Marshall. Mostly taken by Tavlaridis. Nice touch, Wiltor. Equally nice touch, and he got it back from Bentley. It's Sylvain Wiltor. Kanu. Oh, it's beautiful from Kanu, and still, and he's hit the post. Having been the beast, he is the beauty. Kanu's ridiculous miss is followed up very quickly afterwards by Kanu's ridiculously rubbery legs and quite an outrageous array of skills. That is fantastic. You'd pay your tenner to see that. Bentley's corner. David Bentley was injured for the game against Rotherham in the last round. Unlucky because he was certain to get a chance, as indeed he was due to towards the end of last Premiership season. But was unlucky then too with an ailment or two. Captain of England under-20s chose to stay with Arsenal for this match rather than go to Dubai with the young England side. Bentley. Simic. Fabregas, the youngest of the lot. Cut out by Naylor, support from camera. Andrews given his chance on Saturday because of Paul Ince's absence and retained in the side today in preference to Mark Kennedy. What a thrill it must be for these young guys to be playing in the same side as Patrick Vieira, for whom this is a first League Cup tie for 5.5 years, which generally isn't his competition. That's Fabregas over the top for Wiltor. Applause from one of the senior pros for the ultimate junior pro, Cesc Fabregas, spraying the ball in a manner of which the likes of Pires would approve. He joined from Barcelona in the summer. He was the player of the tournament in the Under-17 World Cup in Finland during the closed season, and indeed the top scorer, Golden Boot winner. Clichy, Bentley, Craddock sold himself, Arsenal kept the ball. Bentley, Wiltor, Sylvain Wiltor. As I say, it's a very watchable piece up to now at either end. All three of Sylvain Wiltor's goals this season have been scored away from Highbury, and none of them since the end of August. But he was always hell-bent on testing the goalkeeper once in possession then. Vieira, Bentley, Vieira striding away from Ince. That's a personal duel well worth watching. Now Kanu to run at Craddock and run at Gudjonsson. Hung up by Bentley. Header away by Butler. Thumped further clear by Gudjonsson. Miller. Camera. Andrews for Ray. Clichy across in front of Henri Camera. Frenchman shoulder to shoulder with Frenchman. And now the governor of all Frenchmen, Patrick Vieira. Flags up. Now Clichy got ahead of himself. Made his debut in the last round against Rotherham and played in the Premiership at Birmingham just the other week. One or two of these guys have moved up the pecking order during the spate of suspensions that Arsenal are currently suffering as a result of events at Old Trafford earlier in the season. Wouldn't necessarily have been selected, but as it happens, Martin Keown and Lauren are both suspended for this game. Vieira. Ali Adier, closed down by Naylor, took it back to Ali Adier and fed it to Kanu, who endangered only the glass in the hospitality boxes in the clock end. He really is everything and nothing, Kanu. He must be a nightmare to manage at times. Arsene Wenger, since getting into the semi-final of this competition in his second full season in charge, has seen Arsenal win only 5 of 10 subsequent League Cup ties. Kanu won his header. Ali Adier's on the chase. Butler's going back. And cleared only as far as Bentley. Clichy on the overlap. And Clichy's hung it up, and Kanu climbed, and Naylor leaving his header out. Kanu went to win it back. And Camera came to get it for Wolves. And was fouled. Tavlaridis and Simic are actually the first choice central defensive pair in the Arsenal reserves, run by Eddie Nidzwicki these days. They are well used to each other's game. Stack got away with his clearance. Andrews was caught on it by Ali Adier. He was helped out by Jody Craddock. Butler. Fabregas, a shove in the back from Andrews. Clichy. Simic. Wilson. Drifted towards Bentley, who couldn't take it. Dave Jones had some of his best managerial days in this competition way back in his days with Stockport County. Remember the year he took them all the way to the semi-finals. Ray, who was rather hemmed in. Kanu smelt something. Wiltor still does, so does Ali Adier. Ray's got into trouble. Fabregas. Vieira. What a lovely shuffle from Fabregas. Tavlaridis. Vieira. Clichy. Bentley. Clichy. Away from camera. Clichy to hang it up. Wiltor to leap. Butler away. The fist of Marshall. Out as far as Fabregas. Vieira. Simic. Wiltor. Vieira. Bentley. Clichy. Johnson in. Kanu. Point. Fabregas. Vieira. Bentley. Take it from Fabregas. By good Johnson. This is Ray. Over the top by Ince. Invitingly for camera. Tavlaridis takes charge and requires assistance from Stack. That's a beautiful take from Bentley. Played it early towards Wiltor, who's offside. As it was on Sunday that Arsenal failed to score in a home game domestically for the first time in an absolute eternity. Hard to believe that they would do that twice in a row, but Blake has attempted to put in Miller here. That was alertly off his line. Hoyt. Kanu. He got off his sleeve this time. He's driven it against Butler and had to settle for a throw. Hoyt. Bentley. Clichy. Wilson. Clichy. Bentley. Well, you can certainly see that these boys train with the men. There's an assurance in possession, a slickness about the passing that goes with the Arsenal shirt, and it is inherited by the new generation. Header out, only came to Bentley. He had a go. This is well entitled to do. A regular scorer in the reserves, 7 at that level last year, as well as 5 at nearly a goal a game for the under-19s last season. First senior goal won't be long, surely. There's a sense that he's probably first in the queue for a first-team opportunity. By Ray on Fabregas. We'll know all about the rugged nature of the English Cup tie by the time he spends an evening in the company of Alex Ray and Paul Ince. Fabregas. Slipped through for Ali Adier. Slipped back by Gudjonsson. Vieira. Bentley. Bounced off Ince for Ali Adier. Sprung long by Gudjonsson. Covered in by Graham Stack. Fabregas, that's a super ball. Wiltor. Kanu. Closed down quickly by Craddock. You just never know what's coming next from Kanu. You also sense that he's not entirely sure what's coming next. Hoyt's throw. Made by Naylor. Gathered in by Vieira. Turning here is Bentley. It's opened up for him. Clichy. Capable of considerably better than that. He was one of those privileged to sit on the bench in the San Siro last midweek and watch his seniors pull off one of the great Arsenal performances in Europe. In at the back of Nathan Blake. So Gallagher was, as you see, very well positioned to find something wrong with it. He had an arm semi-wrapped round. Enough to merit a free kick in the view of the referee. Up for which Nathan Blake has got, and over which is Joey Gudjonsson. Aim beyond Craddock, out by Vieira. Further clear by Fabregas. Means his only way out of partial trouble was back. Gudjonsson to load it forward again. Clichy across with camera. assisted by Bentley. Clichy. Vieira. Simek. Fabregas. Turn wide for Hoyt. In again for Fabregas. And Kanu flags up. Shame. A few bright things about that move, which was initiated by David Bentley. It's a tight call. I'm not sure that when Fabregas released the final pass, Kanu was in front of the last defender. Bouncing ball for Naylor, and a short back pass, and Ali Adier has scored for Arsenal. The brightness of youth, the smile of the fatherly manager, and Jeremy Ali Adier, as he did in the previous round against Rotherham, has broken through for Arsenal. A moment that Lee Naylor will quickly want to forget, but look how sharp and alert Ali Adier was, and note how certain he was of the way to goal. Not much to aim at, but what was there he found with a sureness that belies his tender years. Arsenal set off on another sequence of scoring games at Highbury, and those with pride in Wolverhampton shirts, and Paul Ince has more pride than most, will be stung by that. Rightly or wrongly, there would be a stigma about a Premiership side losing to this particular Wolves 11. Rightly or wrongly, there would be a stigma about this Premiership side losing to this particular Arsenal 11. This is Hoyt. It's Craddock out. But what is very apparent to many of us who are seeing these young Arsenal players for the first time is that whatever the stigma, there ought not to be too much shame, because they are hugely comfortable with the football. Tavlaridis, Vieira, Simek, Kanu, Hoyt, galloping clear of Miller, and striking it against Andrews. Miller clear, down for Bentley, can't skip away from Gudjonsson. Well, mighty frown. He doesn't like the rain against his window. This is Ali Adier, and then Kanu. Clever, strong turn. Johnson going back. Kanu being penalised. Sure, quite what for. Bonus for him, not just to have a lead, but to have a game in which he can ease his skipper back into the first team feel. Handball against Joey Gudjonsson. Vieira, Bentley. Ali Adier, taken out by Craddock, and then Ray. Simic. Fabregas. Hoyt. Fabregas. Vieira on Ince. They're going to enjoy that battle, those two. Patrick Vieira wrote in this evening's programme of his great professional respect for Paul Ince. They were having a right old giggle in the tunnel beforehand, and then they knew that they would go out and kick each other to pieces. Miller floated in the free kick. Simic away. Fabregas and Wiltor had a communications breakdown. Ray got it back. Miller wins his header. Stack's experience was enhanced over the course of last season when he went on loan to Beveren in the Belgian First Division, played a complete season there. Stones is headed out by Joey Gudjonsson, having to adapt to a new position today, the former Aston Villa midfield player, who is actually on loan from Real Betis just now. Vieira closed down by Andrews. Miller's interested in this. Simic closed him down. Here's Alex Ray. Very decent try. Playing his 97th game for Wolves this evening, Alex Ray. He only has 16 goals. Had that one found the top corner, it would probably have been the best of his collection. Having said which, he did score that screamer at Bolton earlier this year. Over by Craddock, who's infuriated at his willingness to go down. He rather petulantly raised an arm. As irritated as he was, Jody Craddock, that was surely an overreaction. And he will have been fortunate that he didn't make any telling contact with that flailing limb. Bentley did appear happy to go down. Craddock was perhaps right to be angry, and actually Bentley swung an arm as much as Craddock did. In the end, much ado about nothing. And the outcome is perhaps a shade fortunate from Arsenal's point of view. Here's David Bentley over the set piece. Well, he likes to model himself on Dennis Bergkamp, and there was something about the shape of the shot which was reminiscent of the Dutchman. One or two of his masterpieces have dipped under the crossbar, and presumably in time that'll happen for Bentley too. Ince, Miller, Ray, shifted wide by Andrews, Gudjonsson, held up by Blake, who's hauled over by Tavlaridis. Free kick Wolves. Tavlaridis, once grounded, had little option but to hang on to the Welsh centre forward. To lift it in. Vieira out to Butler. That was a centre-half shot, if ever you saw one. Not a regular goal scorer. He's still forward, Paul Butler. Climbing on Frankie Simek. Last scored on the Boxing Day of last year at Burnley, Paul Butler. Nearly a year. He'll next be on this ground on Boxing Day of this year. 20 years since Wolves' last visit here, only 3.5 weeks till their next one. Offside against Kuhnert. In for Andrews. Miller. Out by Tavlaridis. On by Bentley. Taken down by Vieira. Shifted forward for Kuhnert. Craddock read that trick. Here's Miller. Simek well stationed. Ray. Miller. Ince. Gudjonsson has galloped forward from full back. This ball was deflected into the arms of the waiting goalkeeper.
Down in their pants, come on!
Showed a lot of that to Miller, and Ray chased onto it, and cameras going through, and Ray and Miller went over in a pile inside the centre circle. It was, to put it kindly, a fairly rugged challenge from Simek, who on debut here has drawn himself to the attention of Dermot Gallagher. Vieira's coming over to speak up on the Americans' behalf, but he can't keep him from going into the book. A debut yellow for Frankie Simek. There was free kick. Stack lost it. This was presumably the last touch because a corner's been given. An uncomfortable moment for the young goalkeeper. Ray with the corner, and Ince with the shot, and Stack with the redeeming touch over. Well, insofar as he would have borne the responsibility for conceding the corner, had Wolves scored, Stack had to dig himself out, and he did there with a sharp tip over from Ince's volley. It's Ray again, and this time Vieira strides out, away from Craddock, and Wolves are light at the back here, and this is Bentley. And Vieira's kept moving, and Wiltor's going through the middle here. It's Patrick Vieira first to the ball, it is Silva Wiltor, it is very well dealt with by Andy Marshall. Were there any doubt about the match fitness of Patrick Vieira? Well, at this stage of a game, it has certainly vanished. Miller. Camera for Naylor. Miller. Nicked in for Nathan Blake here, and Blake has dragged it wide. Unnerving moment for Stathis Tavlaridis as Blake showed him one way and went the other, but then couldn't get a pure contact. Saturday's goal against Newcastle was his first of the season, Nathan Blake. That's more than 160 for his 6 different clubs. energy Vieira has, even after 9.5 weeks out of the game. Just had that half hour in Kiev during those 9.5 weeks. Here's an awkward moment for Simek, who couldn't keep it from going out. Throw. Who's there? Of course, Patrick Vieira. Ali Adier. Kanu. Early for Fabregas. Early for Wiltor. Craddock got an ankle on it, importantly. Wiltor wants it back. Ince denies him that. Vieira. Kanu bounced off Ince. Squeezed it clear of Gudjonsson. Arsenal's throw. Vieira, Fabregas, Hoyt, just enough on it for Stack. Vieira on Miller. Craddock. Camera. Butler. Blake. Skirting around Hoyt, who wasn't going to let him pass. Terrific piece of defensive persistence from the 19-year-old. Weimer against Wiltor, and we'll also have another corner. Naylor's throw, on by Butler. Referee saw a push. Where there's a scrap, there's probably Paul Ince. And he wouldn't have it any other way. Arsene Wenger would make the point, there's no sense in which he doesn't want to win every tie he plays in the Carling Cup. Because every tie he wins allows him another opportunity to play these youngsters in another game of first-team football in front of a biggish crowd on a biggish night and enhance their experience. Ince in early towards Miller, didn't Simek do well. Flag was up, it wouldn't actually have counted in the final analysis, but it is all an education this for these young Arsenal players, and Simek was the right man in the right place at the right time. Born in Missouri. Vieira. Fabregas. Return from Ali Adier, and Fabregas had it read. Out by Naylor. Simek. Hoyt. Top by Bentley, pursued Ali Adier. This held back by Blake. Calu penalised. It seemed a bit harsh on the Nigerian. Gudjonsson's fist seemed very close to the ball. Into the one additional minute at the end of the first half. Last chance for Wolves to go in on level terms. Ince. Heaved out by Clichy. Wilton, Ali Adier. Butler came between them. Ray has given it away to Fabregas, and now Wiltor, Sylvain Wiltor, and Bentley. Just too many bodies to steer it through. Half-time whistle goes. It's 1-up for the junior school over the sixth form. Wolves may not concur, but it's a delight to watch these Arsenal youngsters, and one of them, Jeremy Ali Adier, has given them the lead over Wolverhampton Wanderers and given them the edge in the race for a place in the quarter-finals of the Carling Cup. At the break at Highbury, it is Arsenal 1, Wolves 0. Well, Wolves haven't won a game away from Molineux since the playoff final in Cardiff at the end of May. Their prospects of returning to Cardiff this coming spring have been reduced radically during the course of the first half here at Highbury, where Arsenal haven't lost a home game to domestic opponents this season. Only Inter Milan have come here and won. And we know what Arsenal did to them in return. Alex Ray got it back from camera, they couldn't keep it in. Dave Jones has had a few successful half-time team talks this season, not least the one after the half, by the end of which his team trailed Leicester 3-0. Tavlaridis with the header out. In now for Wiltor, early ball for Ali Adier, who has Bentley alongside, and Kanu through the middle. This is Fabregas. He's got a deflection, a shot from the youngster. So far as I'm aware, the only player in British football whose age and squad number are separated by 41 digits, no fewer. The average shirt number tonight is 30.9, the average age is 21.7. And there's the 16-year-old wearing 57. Bentley. Kanu. Oh, why not go again? Kanu, go on! He is ridiculously talented. Everything's a little bit different. And at the end of one of these languid, leggy runs, from a neutral perspective, you can't help but hope he goes all the way. It actually turned out to be a very decent stop from Andy Marshall, who didn't allow himself to be sucked in by all the magic. And the last touch was off the Nigerian. This is Blake. Rolled eventually for Naylor, who of course was to blame for the opening goal in the first half. Clichy. Bentley. Andrews, Craddock, got his goal for the season in the last round against Burnley. Blake won his header. Miller, Ince, that's a good ball, but Ray's offside. Sent tumbling by Keith Andrews, and Arsenal quickly on with the free kick. Here's Bentley. Clichy. Bentley. Vieira. Wiltor. Hoyt. Wiltor. And again Sylvain Wiltor. Instant let him burst. Ali Adier took it back, and Wiltor was denied by a splendid save from Marshall. Sylvain Wiltor amongst those quick to applaud the save from the on-loan goalkeeper. Hasn't played any first-team football at all this season, even at Ipswich, where Kelvin Davies is in possession. Got down very well and got his bottom palm to it. Good punch as well from the keeper. Simek. spooned up towards Kanu, and Marshall got him well again. Appealed for a goal kick and got it. Well, the inference was that it was last off Kanu's head. So Marshall seemed to convince Dave Bryan, the assistant referee, that he should get his goal kick, and he has. Vieira. Ray the tackler, Ince with the pass, Hoyt struggling to cut it out. And Wolves had the throw. Hoyt is down for Arsenal. It's he who was stretching to deny Kenny Miller a direct route to the ball. There. And as he slid, you could see that he held up in the turf. And actually that could be a rather nasty one. Olaf Skulason, the Icelander, is trot up the touchline. It does appear that Arsenal are going to have to make a change here. What a great shame this would be for the young man. No opponent within 10 yards. But his studs just got caught up there, and we've seen that before. That can do considerable tissue damage. Reason for Arsene Wenger to be a little grey-faced, and reason for much sympathy around Highbury. You just don't want to see that happen to a lad who's just breaking through, getting close to the first team. Naylor's throw, Arsenal a man light just for the moment. Simek's header out, Naylor back into the mix. Clichy let it bounce, Camera kept it in, Clichy can emerge with it now. Two quick guys going shoulder to shoulder, pace for pace, and Clichy's reached halfway before Camera's reached him. Gudjonsson breaks it up. Andrews. Going early for Blake. Tavlaridis lent on Blake, Blake lent back, the two clashed and they're still going at it. Somebody's got to step in here. Neither is prepared to compromise, and this now comes down to the interpretation of the official. Dermot Gallagher has his book out. It's hard to see how he can punish one without punishing the other. Tavlaridis, you're bound to say, didn't have much of an eye for the ball and merely wrestled Blake away from it, but that having occurred, Blake wanted to wrestle him back. I think the Greek was a bit fortunate not to have a penalty given against him in the first instance. But a penalty hasn't been given, and now Dermot Gallagher has some more interpretation to carry out. He has booked Blake, and he's booked Tavlaridis. Meantime, here is Arsenal's replacement instead of Justin Hoyt. It is another debutant. It is the 20-year-old Icelander Olaf Skulason. Recently made his full international debut for Iceland in Mexico City. He remained on the bench for the last round of this competition against Rotherham. And he's come on at right full back here. Tavlaridis and Blake still haven't finished. deflects after it. It's going to be him and Tavlaridis again. Tavlaridis got there first. Watch that contest. It's a bit heated now. Walsall won it, but only because of a push. Gray's free kick. Craddock. Gudjonsson. Brought it down. Bentley. Vieira. And there is Justin Hoyt, poor guy. Wasn't a foul, wasn't a bad tackle. It was just an unfortunate fall. For Fabregas, and now Fabregas again. Ince muscling him off the ball. Fabregas away from Ray, in for Kanu, on for Wiltor, Sylvain Wiltor, and Fabregas. He is no more than a slip of a lad, but he began the move and played back in by Sylvain Wiltor. He had a chance gloriously to finish it and become Arsenal's youngest ever scorer. Bentley, Vieira, Clichy. Kanu! Oh! What a lovely move from Arsenal. First 11, second 11, youth side. When they have the ball, they're comfortable with it. They move it at speed. They break compellingly. And Kanu was within a foot or two of doubling their lead there. Indeed, within Marshall's fingertip of doubling their lead. Butler's header out. Miller's clearance. Fabregas. Skurson. Wiltor. Kanu. Vieira. Skurson. Couldn't take it back. This is Ray. Kenny Miller may not know it yet, but I think he's about to get the hook. There is confirmation. The Scotsman is giving way to Irish international Mark Kennedy. No joy on the night for Kenny Miller. Mark Kennedy, who's had a stop-start early season for one reason or another, a series of ailments, now makes his 5th successive appearance in the first team. He hasn't scored a goal since the playoff final. They could do with something special from him now. He is a match winner, a potential match winner for Wolves. Giving Rob Stars, the fourth official, a bit of jit. Mark Kennedy has half an hour to make a difference to the tie. Craddock. Clearance from Stack. Butler's up with Kanu. Fabregas has it back. Wiltor. Kanu. Butler in at his back. It's an Arsenal ball. Sugden. Keep it in. The smile has been slightly diluted now on the manager's face, having lost his young full-back. Very little reason for smiling there. Dave Jones, who since the third-round victory over Burnley has seen 2 1-all draws at home, 2 2-0 defeats away from home. Wolves have slipped back into the bottom 3 from where they had briefly escaped. Kanu. Given away by Tavlaridis, shifted on by Blake, taken up by Ray, and then turned back by Fabregas and tidied up by Tavlaridis. Vieira. Over the top for Ali Adier. Well watched by Marshall. Wiltor, Kanu, Wiltor, broken up by Andrews, taken up by Ince. Kennedy, first chance to make an impact, and he ran into traffic. Vieira. Bentley. Skullerson. Kanu. Ali Adier. Very well to dash in front of Jody Craddock, the centre-half, and make the ball his own. Here's Gudjonsson. Camera. Andrews. Ince. I wonder whether this really ought to have been a chance for Jeremy Ali Adier. And actually he got a rather fortunate bounce off his chest. It was never really under his control. Lovely change of pace from Wiltor, touch back from Kanu, through by Fabregas. Ali Adier's offside, which, again, from the point of view of those who enjoy football aesthetics, is a little bit of a shame, because that was some gorgeously snappy passing from Arsenal. But here's Kennedy. Awkward moment for Skullerson. Kennedy's cross. Away by Clichy. Kept in by Skullerson, but only for Naylor. Andrews beaten off it by Fabregas. Here's Vieira with Kanu one way and Ali Adier the other. And Bentley available too here. David Bentley running at Gudjonsson. Bentley's hit. No shortage of confidence. Speed over the turf of Arsenal as a team is what marks them out. Naylor. Kennedy taken off it by Scullerson. Wiltor. Rennan rolled out by Ince. Ray. Simek. Arsenal at the back there were rather toying with Wolves, and they've got away with it. It's perhaps something they may grow out of. Meantime, they'll enjoy it. Here's Scullerson. And Wiltor. And Kanu! Yes! He was bound to score eventually. He did so off the back of an archetypal Arsenal move. One end of the field to the other in the blinking of an eye. Scullerson beyond halfway. Wiltor galloping, Kanu calling for it and getting it and shifting it in. The Nigerians' first senior goal for 13 calendar months. And one which takes Arsenal almost out of reach and into the quarter-finals of the Carling Cup. Change for Wolves. Keith Andrews been withdrawn, and it has to be attack now from Wolves, to which end Dean Sturridge is introduced for his first team appearance since August. He was involved in the first two fairly catastrophic Premiership games for Wolves. The heavy defeat at Blackburn, and the heavy home defeat by Charlton. But he's going to have to burst back onto the scene quite impressively now if he's going to salvage anything from this evening for Wolves. Will have warned his team that even a skeleton Arsenal side is a challenge in itself, and that is how it has turned out. Taken off it by Fabregas. Forward by Naylor. Kennedy. And by Simek. One by Blake. Hit by Ray. And now bounces out for Kanu, and Arsenal can break here. Ali Adier, one-on-one with Butler. Jeremy Ali Adier. Oh, that's terrific! Absolutely brilliant! What a talent this guy is! If you're good enough, you are old enough, and these Arsenal young'uns aren't half good. And wherever and whenever, at whatever level, Jeremy Ali Adier scores goals throughout the promising career ahead of him, he will score few better than that. He tied Paul Butler, an established Premiership centre-half, up in knots, and then dispatched a terrific drive. And Arsenal now are over the hills, far away, and into the quarter-finals. And if you were wondering about the divide inside the Premiership these days, well, here is massive evidence to that end. Wolves have fielded their first team here. Arsenal have sent out the boys and have ripped them apart. Clichy's been caught there by Gudjonsson. The referee has been summoned by his assistant there, Ralph Bain, and I think Joey Gudjonsson can expect some bad news here. Quite how bad remains to be seen. Not as bad as what he may originally have feared. As important as him staying on the pitch is the news that Gael Clichy does too, not too badly hurt. Craddock's header out, Arsenal's throw, Wolves really rattled now. Another change for Wolves, who are back in this neck of the woods at the weekend against Spurs. Perhaps they've more or less got to surrender this cup tie now and rest one or two, and Cameron's giving way to Sean Newton. Kanu, Bentley, Ali Adier, who's on a first-team hat-trick here. Years old. Sturridge. Tackle from Tavlaridis. Wiltor. Tavlaridis. Wiltor. Oh, he's taken that brilliantly on the charge. Sylvain Wiltor. Faced by Butler. Pulled back for Fabregas. Interception from Ray. What Wolves need to be wary of here is that they're not utterly humiliated on the night. What concerns you from their point of view is that 3.5 weeks from now on Boxing Day they've got to come back and play the first team. Wiltor. Ray's tackle. Ince, Sturridge, Blake, free kick Wolves. So this Tavlaridis is starting to leave the field momentarily to remove a piece of jewellery, I think. It's taken 75 minutes for the referee to spot it. There you are. Gary Lewin is in possession of a new chain. And Arsenal are light of a centre-half to defend this free kick, which Wolves really have to score to get back into the game. Craddock's coming blind side. Clichy's clearance, Wiltor on the burst again. Arsenal have 4-on-4. Wiltor has shifted it for Clichy. And Gudjonsson got back. You get the feeling that the senior players really enjoy these evenings too. Sylvain Wiltor certainly has, and has been a major player. Bentley's corner. Ray behind again. a ball. Bentley's corner. Marshall's hand. Taylor can't pull a rabbit out of that hat. Toying with Gudjonsson, seeking assistance from Clichy. Vieira. Of course, what will be interesting is to see what happens tomorrow night when Wolves' great local rivals take on a presumably weakened version of Arsenal's great Premiership rivals when West Brom play Manchester United. See whether there are any parallels to be drawn, comparisons to be made. Another Arsenal substitution. You have to have enjoyed the performance of 19-year-old David Bentley, and talk about music to his ears. You're talking dream fulfillment there, a standing ovation for a teenager at Highbury. He's replaced by another guy fulfilling dreams, local Islington boy Ryan Smith, only 17, left-footed player who dispatched a penalty in the shootout against Rotherham as if he was 37. These boys do grow up fast. Wiltord. Here is Ryan Smith for the first time, with Kanu outside of him, Ali Adier through the middle, and here's Sylvain Wiltord, scraped out by Ray. Clichy. Fabregas. Skullerson. Vieira. Flag has stayed down. Sylvain Wiltord, 4. It's a rout. You just have to doff your cap to Arsenal's excellence. And you just have to bow your head and feel sympathy for Wolves' partial humiliation. Not an easy thing to say, but here is a young Arsenal team rolling out the substitutes, giving the youngsters a chance, letting them play and letting them perform. Vieira rolling in Wiltord, and two of the senior pros having their say now. Well, Wolves have come back from 3 down this season. They've not come back from 4, and they did need a whole half to get their 4 goals against Leicester. It ain't going to happen. Gudjonsson. Great for him just to put his arm around these young players and watch them perform. Here's Alex Ray. Oh, that's a terrific hit from him. Something to carry home back up the M1, M6. Something to lure them back to Highbury, perhaps, with a little bit of hope on Boxing Day. A ferocious, almost angry hit from Alex Ray. Take that, we will not lie down sort of consolation goal. He'll have enjoyed skipping away from Patrick Vieira, but I don't think Dave Jones' face is quickly about to break into a smile. So if they stole another one now, it could get interesting. Maybe the young boys would panic. Sugden. Butler across. They're away from Ali Adier, who is hell-bent on getting himself a hat-trick here. His appetite, his body language says so. Eds. Gudjonsson. Newton. Held off by Clichy. Throw in slightly puzzlingly from Sean Newton's point of view is given Arsenal's way. Another Arsenal debutant here. There's going to be no hat-trick for Jeremy Ali Adier. There is to be a standing ovation though. There is a new North Bank hero. 3 goals in 2 League Cup ties for Jeremy Ali Adier. And a debut now for the Czech youngster, despite his surname, the Czech youngster Michal Papadopoulos. Has a Greek father, who I believe is in the crowd tonight. He is on loan this season from Banik Ostrava. Kennedy. Hold back for Ince. Driven wide for Gudjonsson. Ince couldn't take it, Kennedy might. There's a handball, nothing doing. Vieira lobs it out, Craddock deals with it. Against Tavlaridis for the foul on Sturridge. Wolves quickly on with it. Needs 3 goals in 6 minutes. Here's Kennedy. Tackled by Skullerson. Came for Fabregas. Papadopoulos. He was caught as he tried to release Wiltor. Blake. Sturridge was offside. Tonight's result does just leave the Midlands with West Bromwich Albion and Aston Villa in the Carling Cup. Both of whom we'll see in action tomorrow. West Brom against Manchester United. Villa you would make favourites clearly against First Division Crystal Palace. Sturridge, Blake. Ince. Naylor. Kennedy. Chance. Newton can't get there. Arsenal were a little shaky at the back for one rare moment there, but Tavlaridis did the business and is still grounded because of the effort he put into defending. And he has played Sturridge onside here. Newton. Faced by Clichy. Newton's cross. Kennedy's header. And Stack's comfortable take. Back header, so Marshall had to come. I think Stack's original intention was to get the ball into touch, so that Tavlaridis could get sorted out. Naylor's low cross. Tavlaridis threw his body in to deny Sturridge a clean shot. Flag has stayed down. Sylvain Wiltord with so much to aim at. A moment to remember for Fabrice Fabregas, the youngest scorer in the famous history of Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal 5, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, the 5th goal scorer. 16-and-a-half-year-old, barely out of short trousers, from Spain, Francesc Fabregas. From half a yard or 25 yards, they all count the same. And this one ices the richest of Arsenal cakes. Ince. Foul by Vieira, free kick Wolves. Read it. Gudjonsson. Smith came out. Arsenal want more, you know. Papadopoulos. Aim towards Wiltord. Blake. Ray. Was caught. It was his error in the first half that began the rout, I'm afraid. It's his free kick in the second half of the 90th minute, and Wolves won't be able to drag themselves off the Highbury pitch quickly enough. Aimed it at Butler, came all the way through to Newton. Only 1 minute to add on. It's as much as Wolves can bear. Kennedy. top by Butler. Skullerson. Vieira with Ince again. Ray's got it. Gudjonsson. And to Kennedy. Kennedy's cross. And Tavlaridis out of harm's way. Men against boys, and the boys won. For the second successive week, Arsenal have a 5-1 victory for Inter Milan in the San Siro, read Wolves in the Carling Cup. Francesc Fabregas sets a new Highbury record with the 5th goal of the evening right at the end. Before him, Ali Anier got a couple, Wiltor got one, Kanu got one. Vieira would have loved the experience. Ray's thump for Wolves was nothing more than absolutely scant consolation. They return to the relegation battle now, and worse still, they return here to play the first team only 3.5 weeks from now in the Premiership. It has finished extraordinarily at Highbury. Arsenal 5, Wolves 1.
sir.
I've never seen them before, so I didn't dispute it. Yeah.
Do you want it up one because you don't tell that you're not smart? Keep the standards up, Gary.
Yeah.
Bit of level coming your way?
Yeah, we got to make you look good. The players did tonight.
It's more and more difficult.
Happy gas?
Yep. Well, that made you smile, didn't it?
Yeah, it was enjoyable to watch because I felt that the experienced players did very well and the young players did very well as well. And over 90 minutes, we're consistent in the quality of our passing and of our movement, the game we want to play. And it was really enjoyable to watch. A game with a little bit less pressure, but what a commitment the boys have shown.
You got some fantastic youngsters here.
I said that for a while, and always I promised to convince people, but you could see that tonight, yes.
Incredible week, 5-1 in Inter Milan, and 5-1 against a Premiership team, a full team.
Yes, and we are of course very happy, and the spirit is high at the club, and we just keep going and try to work hard, and I think the example the experienced players have shown again tonight is a good way to follow for the youngsters, and it shows that it works.
Ideal match for Patrick Vieira to come back into.
He has done very well. I wanted to take him off after an hour, and he tried to stay on, and he looked very good and very sharp.
And no after effects?
No, I don't think so. We'll see tomorrow, but yeah. I don't think so.
It was disappointing for you to have Hoyt carried off.
Yes, for an ankle injury, and he's X-rayed at the moment. We don't have any news. I hope it's not too bad.
Just two players to pick up. Ali Adair, amazing 2 goals. The second goal he scored was fantastic.
Yes, even the first one I felt is a typical centre-forward goal, and the second one was fantastic because has shown technique, skill, and good clinical finishing, and he has done very well tonight, Jeremy.
And Fabregas, youngest ever scorer, 16.5.
He had an outstanding game, I thought, for the whole game. Didn't give the ball away. Or what he does is with touch of class, vision, and intelligence, and above all, he scored as well a goal. He got a reward.
You're in the quarter-final Carling Cup. Presumably, it's important for you to keep going in this competition, to keep bringing these youngsters out.
Yeah, we'll keep going with the youngsters, and we had every year were disappointing because we wanted always to play the younger players and could never get through. This year we looked to be a little bit more dangerous. It helps as well, I must say, for the younger players to play at home because they get the support of our fans and they feel more comfortable. So as long as we can play at home, it's great.
You're having a fantastic season away to Leicester at the weekend. Do you think Thierry Henry might get back in the team?
He has a chance.
Smashing.
Okay.
Sky? Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Happy in the box?
Darmish for Sky with Arsene Wenger. Arsene, 11 changes, but a convincing win.
Yes, we had good movement, good dynamic in the team, good technical level, and of course we had a mixture of experienced players and of younger players, and both sides. I must praise both because the experienced players have been amazing, and the younger players have been very good for the first to the last minute. They didn't collapse, and we kept the technical level very high.
You mentioned the youngsters. You're 2 games away potentially from a major final. Would you keep the policy of sticking with these youngsters in this competition?
Well, at the moment, yes. We have a big Champions League game. It depends on our schedule, but at the moment I would feel they deserve the right to be there. And so let's just go from game to game and see what we can do, because it's very difficult to plan 2 or 3 weeks ahead because you lose players, you get injuries. I would say I like to use that competition with the right mixture of experienced players who need competition and younger players.
Some good individual performances, in particular Jeremy Ali Adair. How impressed were you with him tonight?
Very well, he has done very well. The boy has been a lot bothered by injuries in the last 2 years, and this is the first year he's not injured and he's coming back stronger and stronger from game to game, and I hope tonight will give him the needed confidence.
How much of an impact do you think he can make? I know he's young, but how much of an impact can he make this season for you?
It's always very difficult to know. He has the class, he has the desire, the motivation. That's good basis, and after that it's down to him and to me to find the right moment to put him in.
That second goal in particular, a certain Thierry Henry would have been proud of that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Thierry Henry would be proud of that goal as well. Thierry Henry gives him a lot of advice, and Wiltor as well, because then Kanu as well you have seen tonight. And he takes it on board, and since August he's always getting higher, and in every game, even tonight, he makes a step forward.
Patrick Vieira, that must have been a huge bonus. He lasted the full game.
He lasted the full game, and he has worked hard physically, and the fact that he has no recurrence of his injury is the first good news, and secondly, physically looked quite sharp.
In contention for Saturday then?
Well, we'll see how he responds now to tomorrow or on Thursday.
History was made as well. Cesc Fabregas with the youngest ever Arsenal player to score. How pleased are you for him?
I'm very pleased for him. For all the young boys have done really well. At the back, they've done extremely well. And in the middle of the park, of course, Cesc is the youngest one, but he has been amazing. And from the first to the last minute, he was in there, and alongside Patrick, he had a great game.
One sour note, Justin Hoyt's injury, how bad is he?
It looks a bad ankle. I hope there's nothing broken, because it's an X-ray at the moment, and I haven't the result yet.
I must just ask you about what happened at the FA yesterday. It's all finished now, this Arsenal-Man United so-called fracas. Giggs and Ronaldo didn't get any bans, just fine. But what was your reaction to that?
Well, it's very difficult for me to speak about that, because you have to accept what the FA decides. I feel comparing, we have been harshly done, but we have come out after the punishment and said we'll get on with it, and respond with a clean behaviour, and I think we have done that. That's all we can say.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, didn't bash their heads.
That's the stage, isn't it? And this must have been collaborating. Strip nights.
No, I think this was the bar. They got a little thing over there, a little bar here. They sit and watch the match and have a little drink. It's a bit like Chelsea.
You're boring Brian there.
Chelsea's bar.
No.
That's a bit just like this. Sort of retros. Think how much they earn.
I think they're in business.
Stop the outline, please. Can you change the outline for this one? Change the outline. Okay.
Happy? Yeah. Are we ready?
Just 1 second there. Happy? Now we change the opposite side. In
I can hear him. Yeah. What do you say about that, David?
What do you want me to say? It just wasn't good enough at the end of the day. You work hard, you battle, and you give a sloppy goal away, and then the whole attitude and temperament of the side changes. So we came in, only a goal down, and you're trying to go out and have a go. And it's nothing to do with systems or anything else, because we tried every system that was going, and whatever we tried, we were still going to concede. So it's about how you apply yourselves from the initial disappointments of conceding, but you've also got to be able to get hold of the ball and pass it. And our mood changed from what we did on Saturday. Today it's like putting two different teams on.
And you were playing a very young side, they're 16-and-a-half-year-olds.
Yeah, but let's not fall into the trap of, because they're here because they're quality players, and some of them players are part of their first team. So that's the sad thing, because everybody will look at that, but they've got quality players all the way through this football club.
But David, you know, people expect sort of a Premiership side like Wolves to be able to do a little bit better against a young side.
Yeah, of course we do. But, you know, You're talking about a 16-year-old. I don't know how good he's going to be or whatever, but there's players in the past. But we need to apply ourselves properly and get the disappointments of conceding a goal. So everybody's going to now knock it and say that it's Arsenal's reserve side and everything else, and that's just, they're here because they are capable of playing in their first team, and that's what they've done today in front of 28,000 people. What we didn't do is make a game of it because of our application.
But isn't it natural, though, David, for people to react like that? I mean, I think
Yeah,
everybody
of course
here would say that. I mean, I found myself saying that. I'm surprised you lost 5-1 to a young side like that.
Well, so am I. I'm surprised that we lost full stop, because we didn't do the things that we are capable of doing. If we'd have got anywhere near what we played on Saturday, then we don't lose by that score. We mightn't even have lost the game. But it's as if we've put a different set of people out today.
Now you've got to come back here on Boxing Day and play their full team. How would the players react to that, do you think?
Well, first off, we've got to go to Tottenham first.
Yeah.
So it's no good worrying about what we do on Boxing Day. It's what we're going to do from now until Saturday to get the players all ready. But everybody will be blaming whatever. But at the end of the day, we didn't come here and go out onto the pitch and apply ourselves in the manner that we know we're capable of. Now, for whatever reason, that's what we'll find out over the next few days. But the fans that have travelled down and the support that they give us, it's so disappointing, because what they see, we see, and I'm just very angry at the moment that we've put a performance in like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to do Sky?
Yeah.
Happy?
Yeah.
Liz?
Yep.
Here we go.
Darmish with Dave Jones was Sky. Dave, how disappointed was that tonight?
I'm not sure what to say. Very disappointing, or what? It was not a side that we expected Wolves to go out and put a performance in like that.
Can you put your finger on what went wrong?
There's lots of things I can put my finger on, but we didn't go out and apply ourselves in the manner that we did on Saturday against Newcastle. And it's as if you've put two different teams out. So whatever, who's going to blame, whatever, but the first thing is we all look at ourselves and say, did we do enough? And we didn't do enough. And I say we because we're all in it together.
When you looked at the Arsenal team sheet, could you see yourself, this might be a missed opportunity now if you'd lost that game?
Well, there is a missed opportunity for us, but they've got quality players here all the way through the football club. Otherwise they don't put a shirt on and go out and play for Arsenal. So it wasn't anything to do with that. We knew we were going to be in for a tough game, whatever side they put out, because they have quality players. But we just didn't. We started brightly enough. We were fighting, we were scrapping, and then we've given a sloppy goal away. That's nothing to do with systems, coaching or whatever. That's a sloppy goal. And then we've got in at half time, we've talked about powering on and trying to get back into the game. And it don't matter what system you play or what players you put out, if they're not applying themselves to go on and try and win a game of football, then they're not going to do anything. And why we've gone out and done that, we'll find out over the next few days. But it's so disappointing for our fans that have travelled down and everybody associated with the football club, because we had an opportunity tonight and we didn't take it.
Do you think you've got a job on your hands now picking themselves up for Saturday against Tottenham?
Well, someone said that after we'd lost to Everton, and then we go and put a performance in like we do against Newcastle. And that's the problem, what's changed from Saturday to now? And they're all the things we'll look at and ask questions, and harsh questions as well. But what has changed? It's just hard to swallow at the moment, and you're asking me questions that I need a day or so to find out and go through what the players are thinking to come up with some answers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Cheers.